check it out! You found your way to our awesome Park Beyond game demo!
I gotta play Park Beyond at Gamescom 2022, and today this video is going to bring you my experience from playing the game and actually from talking to the devs about what they're planning, what is going to be coming in the next year, and also what this game makes so special and different, and what my thoughts are about it. They're kind of mixed up. Little spoiler ahead, but I'm gonna get into it why, and I'm gonna get into why I think this game has still huge potential, maybe just in a different way than we all would have thought. So let's get into it. But let's start with what I was able to do. So I went to Gamescom and there was a playable demo of the first mission, which is more or less like the little tutorial in which you get to build a roller coaster that is guiding you from your house, where basically you're living, toward the theme park that is living close by or standing close by. And during that little level, you're going to be, welcomed to the coaster builder. And the coaster builder is the first thing I'm going to talk about real quick here. You will notice rather quickly, and I've already had a video about the coaster builder in its details. It's very close to what you've seen in Roller Coaster Tycoon World. And hold on, yes, I know Roller Coaster Tycoon World is normally not the best example to use when it's about any kind of theme park game, but the coaster builder in particular wasn't a bad one. It was actually a good one, but it wasn't really polished at a certain way. And I gotta say, this one over here is kind of, the same in a way that it has the strengths, but it's definitely not as clunky and as worse at, as bad as the RCTW one was. So you can build insane roller coasters by just clicking and pointing your coaster. You will actually see some footage on the screen in order to understand what exactly I'm talking about. And you can just drag the coaster around, change certain things. There are a lot of hotkeys, in order to set the banking and stuff. And I was actually able, in my way, towards the end of my session, I was actually able to pull off some very decent parts of the coaster. As I'm not the most expert builder, I'm quite certain that some expert builders will be able to extract a lot out of this. However, on the downside, the first person view was weird, so to say, but remember, it's a very early stage of the development, so the first time ever we could have had our hands on it. Now, and the thing about this is, there was a lot going on with like motion blur and stuff, and that always sets a little bit the mood for what this game is about. And in the next part, I'm going to talk about the very special approach of Park Beyond. Now, at the beginning, before you even start with the coaster building, you're greeted by a very lovely little story up front of you, the designer, who's starting its career as a coaster and a theme park designer. And this game is all about the impossification. Impossification is basically taking an existing ride, an existing flat ride, coaster or whatever, and just go beyond what is possible, kind of come up with crazy ideas and realize them in your creations. Now, this game, as the developers confirmed, is set to be a game for newbies of the genre. So bring people into the park management genre by actually having a very much open approach to it. So they confirmed to me, you can build 100% realistic if you want to, but if not, you can go above and beyond and just create whatever you can imagine. Now, this is something I found very interesting because in my example over here, I just simply didn't want to build that ramp and I just didn't want to build the cannon. But the problem is the tutorial asks you to do that. So you just have to build a little ramp of your coaster that shoots it from one area to the other. But and let me get that straight, in the final game, you don't need to. I talked to people who played the secret press demo. There was another demo which unfortunately I wasn't able to play, but I will include some footage from the IGN one. So, it's not mine, it's from IGN. They were able to play that. You can see that they already used some landscaping tools and stuff, which look very good. But let's talk a bit more about the rest of the game. Alright, so I said the barrier for people to enter that game should be super low. And just to say that up front, I think they delivered in the way that the entry to the level was very easy because there was a story mode. It really got you into building that, and I'm quite sure that it will go on like this in the further game as well. Now, the further you get into the game, and this is what we saw in all the other demos, the game also is capable of going a lot more deep into management and stuff. And honestly, the management, from what I've seen and what I've talked about to the devs, is looking super promising. It's a lot more deep than what you have, for example, from Planet Coaster. Just to give you one example, when you're building a coaster, you can set the target group of that coaster. Now, that said, you build a coaster and, you know, in Planko, you kind of had the same by just hitting certain levels, you know, of excitement and nausea and blah, blah, blah. And then a different target group was targeted. However, in here, this actually fulfills a certain requirement for marketing and for your bonuses. And you can even change certain modules of the coaster to make it accessible for multiple target groups. So let's say you can build like a splitter into the coaster, and then one part of the coaster that goes to the left is more made for families, and the one that goes to the right is going to go for the thrill seekers, for example. So this is possible with impulsification, for example, and just opens up a whole new level of creativity. And I think this is a very good way to go, and not just being copycat in that certain way. Other things that I've saw also, you know, that I've seen in the other demos was, and another thing that the devs confirmed to me is that the landscaping tools and the piece-by-piece building will be pretty decent. But let's talk about that now. Okay, so this game will come with a full sandbox experience. Now, one thing I was very happy that one of the devs actually sat next to me and talked to me quite a while was that they confirmed they will also put a lot of emphasis on the sandbox mode. So as a typical park builder game, you know, you want to have sandbox mode, and they will put emphasis on that. And that means you will get all access to whatever you want to do. For example, alrighty, so I think this game surprised me in two different ways. Number one being positive, because the graphics and stuff looked a lot better than I expected, and you can never tell that. It felt very, you know, it felt generally very stable and good. The experience was good, the hotkey selection was good, and it just felt like a proper good game. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like that I expected something worse, but remember when I had the first Roller Coaster Tycoon World demo at my hands, I was shocked, and I'm just happy that I didn't experience that shock over here. Second thing was the graphics really surprised me. They look a lot better when you play it. They, you know, from all the video material, and I briefly talked about this with Sylph, it looked a little bit too comic-y and maybe a tad bit too crazy, but I can guarantee you in-game it's really not that bad, especially not if you get up closer and you take some screenshots. It looks really, really good, and I think with a little bit of color adjustments with some external programs, you can even get that more realistic. But the rest of it is really good, like the foliage is good, and it's not really comic-y, so it's definitely decent. The other thing that maybe surprised me in a, I don't want to say bad way, but maybe I hoped that this would be different, is kind of the target group of this game. Now, I was hoping for a proper park builder that goes a little bit into the impulsification, but the game really goes onto impulsification. That's the core thing of the game, that you can go beyond. So they want to really stress that beyond. So for everyone who's, you know, looking forward to that game, it's definitely something that is for the people who want to build crazy theme parks. You know, that will be your game. Who want to build something fun, something crazy, and don't want to look too much at the realism aspect. Even though park management and stuff will be pretty realistic, this will go above and beyond. So that is something to keep in mind. So if you're like a realistic park builder, we have to kind of wait and see how many tools they'll give us in order to play that without the impulsification. And since the impulsification is a core mechanic of the group of the play game, it might not be, you know, exactly the game we're waiting for, but who knows? People always get creative with whatever tools they're handed. So I'm not here to say, you know, I'm out of it. I'm actually more in than ever, because I'm positively surprised of what I've seen and what I've played. But I really want to see more of this game. Now, from whatever you have seen, guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think about this game so far. And please don't hesitate to put some questions down. I'm very happy to you know, answer them, because I haven't had the idea what exactly you guys want to hear. I had just a couple minutes to play the game and had a presentation, so yeah, just ask me, and if I can answer, I will. But other than that, have a good time, and if you want to see more updates about that in the future and just in general in the channel, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'd be very happy if you do so. Now have a good time, stay safe, and goodbye.